afternoon. Tom Johnson, along with Sue Kempf. Hi, Sue. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, Tom. Good to be with you.
We're back together for a little fair game, Laguna. First of all, does it get better in this weather? Finally.
Finally, I think everybody's happier. A lot more people are out. I've noticed that.
Oh my gosh, it's just so good to get up in the morning, look out the windows. No rain right now, and let's keep our fingers crossed it kind of stays that way. So
Yep.
the city, good, everybody I think is happy. We've announced Dave Kempf as our city manager.
Right.
But Dave's got to get some things in order and everything, get down here again. That doesn't come up until May. What's going on in and around City Hall as far as leadership goes right now?
Right. So Gavin's our interim city manager right now. We're doing just fine. He's keeping things moving. We have a council meeting coming up on Tuesday, and he's preparing for that. But and he's doing his role plus the acting city manager role. So he's busy. Everybody's doing what they need to do. Council has a lot of projects and a lot of programs in progress, and he's working on those and addressing the day to day. So I think it's all going quite well. I think Dave's going to be pleased when he gets here that we have things kind of in order and ready to go.
Perfect. Does that kind of give you I was going to ask you about what's on the mayor's to-do list. Having the box filled that says hired a city manager, does that relieve a lot of pressure?
Well, yeah, just having a city manager on board, period, takes a lot of pressure off the council because they can handle, we get a lot of emails from residents about various things. And a lot of times these are things that the city management has to handle for us. So it's good to have, it's going to be good to have him there. But I think for the council, it's a checkbox. We've done. We've got ourselves a good city manager, and for me, I have a lot of things I'm working on today. We met with the business owners that do business on the promenade, Mark Orgill and I, because we're on the subcommittee for the promenade. We met with them. We had a great meeting with them. And Mark and I also walked the town. We're going to be bringing a commercial maintenance ordinance forward and to get the building owners to clean up their business, cleaning up their properties. Because if you walk around town, we're looking a little shabby. So I'm working on that. I want to work on a whole program for that. Those are the kind of things I've been kind of focusing on, these few weeks.
Perfect. Speaking of what's coming up and things like that, I think back to, there's not a lot of history that seems to fall into our lifetime. But one thing I do remember was I was a junior in high school in 1970, and they started talking about this new thing that was going to come around. It was called Earth Day. Mm-hmm. I don't know back then if anybody took it serious except maybe about like 20 hippies on campus that thought, this is a cool thing that's coming and everything. But they talked about, ride your bike or walk to school or whatever. But most of us did that anyway. But now, all these years later, Earth Day is a big deal. What's going on in Laguna Beach?
Right. Earth Day is a big deal. I'm the same way, Tom. I remember I grew up in Indiana when this first came up. I thought, well, isn't every day Earth Day?
Yeah.
I didn't know anything. Yeah, but so lots of events coming. So actually Earth Day is Monday. And so Rivian is hosting they're such good community partners. Let me just give a shout out to them, first of all. They're going to host Earth Day, and we're going to have from 6 to 8:30. Well, I think it starts at 6:30, but you have to register for this event. But we're going to have an Earth Day celebration there. I think it's put on by the Canyon Conservancy, and then we're going to have Citizens Climate Lobby present. We're going to have OC Coast Keepers, Bluebell, Ocean Foundation, City of Laguna Beach on our climate action plan. The high school is going to present some work they're doing on flow, which is the Fireland Ocean Water group that they have, science-based group. LCAD, and so it's going to be a good event. Everybody needs to register in advance to get tickets because they will sell out. And then on Saturday before Earth Day, the library is having like a composting workshop and fairy garden and poetry readings. That's I think from 11 to 1. And then the chamber on Saturday also is doing beach cleanup at Crescent Bay Beach from 10 to 11. The City of Laguna Beach is going to have an e-waste, get rid of your e-waste from, I think it's 8 to noon at Act 5. So you can get rid of, paint and then any electronic waste that you have. So we have a lot of stuff going on. There's going to be a walk for water. I think it's on Sunday, and it's hosted by the high school. And I think that's from 12 to 3. So that's going to be a big thing as well. Walking for Water, that's a nonprofit. So anyway, a lot going on Earth Day. You know, we're very environmentally conscious, not just council, but as a city as well. So I think we'll get great participation throughout the town.
Yeah, there's that old joke that, oh, if you look up such and such in the dictionary, you see so and so's picture. It seems to me that, you know, if ever there was a town that you look up and you look up Earth Day, Laguna Beach would be right there because it's something that's lived in this town every day.
So true. Absolutely true.
And that's good. It's a really credit, I think, to the town.
Yep.
Speaking of the town and good things going on, I loved Cassie's email last week talking about everything that was going on in the city, and I got excited about a couple of things. I saw the goats were coming back to town and starting
Yep.
to do their job, and there were just a number of other things. There was a promotion ceremony by the police department. There was a new inspector announced for the fire department. Just
Right.
all these good things for our first responders. But what's of particular great note, and I want to get back to all of those, but what's of particular great note is the new stats have just been released for 2023 on the accomplishments of our police department. Talk a little bit about that.
Right. So, you know, Jeff Calvert's doing a great job with our police department. Our crime stats are down overall 7% from the prior year, which is really good. And, you know, it's a testament to the work they're doing to build the team. You know, policing and recruiting is very difficult now because, you know, more people are leaving the profession than entering. And so we have, you know, I saw this was very evident at the awards ceremony that the police department held a couple of weeks ago. Excellent attitude, very upbeat. People are very enthusiastic, and you can see it in their policing, and you can definitely see it in the crime stats. I think the one unfortunate incident we had last year was, remember, we had Tatum Goodman, who was murdered back behind the movie theater, and which was a horrible thing. We were all horrified by that and worried about it. But our police department, you know, detectives, you know, they didn't sleep until they found that what they considered to be the perpetrator and got him arrested very, very quickly. So I think the police department is doing very, very well. And, you know, I'm very happy for them. And I think they'll continue to do really good work for our town.
Well, the other thing I think people have to keep in mind is when you have a city, or as I call it, a town like Laguna Beach, um, one crime can throw the stats off
Right.
so much. I mean, you don't think of like Laguna Beach / murder. So when one happens, somebody could write the story and say, "Oh, this area is up dramatic," but it's not. It's that thing that's few and far between. It's not like a Los Angeles where, um, you know, crimes, one more crime, doesn't change the statistics. But in a place like Laguna Beach, something like that could happen and kind of throw, so people need to look at that for really what it stands for. And like you said, good things happening. And yes, kudos to Jeff Calvert. I love it because from a media standpoint, Jeff makes himself accessible. He makes himself accountable to this city. And I think I think he does a great job. And I think it goes across the board. How about some of the other areas? We're talking fire and lifeguards. Anything to report on those areas?
Well, I think all of our public safety groups are great. So the fire department, of course, I had the third graders in from Top of the World yesterday at City Hall, and they come every year. And so, there were two classes, and they start with me at the in the council chambers, and I talk about city government, but then it eventually goes to things they're really interested in, which is the goats. And then they went off from me, they went with the fire department, and I'm sure they saw the cool truck and all the stuff they see. Then they went to the police department, they see the police dog and the police car, and then they go to marine safety and they see all the cool jet skis and the boats and all the things that marine safety does. So they had a great outing, but it just makes you so proud of our public safety organizations. Right. Because, they're so community focused, and they were so great with those kids. And it gives kids as they're growing up in the community, not only do they feel safe, but they're also interested now, and they kind of know how things work. So it was really, really good. Yeah, I think Marine Safety too, another great organization. At the State of the City, I talked about all the rescues they did in South Laguna when we took over the beaches, 23,000 rescues. I mean, Come on, that's astounding. So, I think overall we're doing a good job.
Well, I can only imagine when these third graders come in, it's like, oh yeah, great, that person's the mayor, no big deal. And it starts getting more excited when you see, the guys in the uniform or the women in the uniform or whatever. But when you see that police dog, you really know what's the important thing in this community.
Yeah, exactly. They're really interested in that dog and the goats. That was their main thing. Pretty cute.
Well, I want to thank you for jumping in with us and giving us another quick view of what's going on in the city. We'll catch up with you next week. This is another wrap up of Fair Game Laguna. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Tom. Good to be with you.